Yakuza 都中意沖乾淨個身，然後先做嘢。
Have you ever wondered what would happen if maybe John Woo went to a party in 1990 with Paul Verhoeven and they met Sharon Stone in the backyard and they all did coke all night and maybe some amyl nitrate and wrote a script together? That would be Naked Killer. In 1992, the Hong Kong film invasion was at its peak, and one of those films that made a huge dent was director Clarence Fok's Naked Killer. Naked Killer was what they called in Hong Kong as a Category 3 film, or Cat 3 for short. These films in Hong Kong were somewhat of an equivalent to the US rating of X or NC-17, if you will. In the 90s, there were tons of Cat 3 films in the market. These films usually took a popular genre like the historical epic, or in the case of Naked Killer, the action genre, and added a little extra spice. And that spice was usually sex or violence. Or both. It was just a little more over the top than what you were used to, but not over the top. Director Fok had been acting and directing in Hong Kong films since the early 80s. He even appeared as an actor in Jackie Chan's Project A and Project A2. His career as a director was more of a journeyman-like filmmaker until about 1989, when the film They Came to Rob Hong Kong was released. It was here, and also with his next couple of films, The Iceman Cometh, Crying Freeman, and Gun and Rose, where he began to be known for a style of hyper-fast editing and action scenes that, although brief, were quite breathtaking. The extremely prolific producer Wong Jing took notice and tasked him with making a John Woo Basic Instinct hybrid that went over the line into Fok's first and last Category 3 film. Alas, the cult classic Naked Killer was born. The plot concerns Kitty, played by Chigmy Yao, whose father is killed by a gangster having an affair with his wife. Kitty crosses paths with a cop, Tinam, played by Simon Yam, who is investigating the deaths of numerous men in the city. Yam is also suffering some trauma from the fact that he killed his own brother in a shootout, and as a result, vomits at the sight of a gun.
Freeze!
I'm gonna repeat that. He vomits at the sight of a gun.
Hey, wait!
Just to make that clear. Kitty attempts revenge against the gangsters for her father's death, only to take hostage a woman known as Sister Cindy, who also just happens to be there to kill the same people, and who just happens to be the leader of a group of professional female assassins who just also happen to be responsible for all the men being killed in the city. Stay with me, it's happening all at once, I know, but just stick with me. Sister Cindy is played by Madoka Sugawara, and she invites Kitty to change her name and be trained to be a professional douchebag killer at her palatial estate, which also houses a basement filled with serial rapists and pedophiles that they can use to practice the art of killing on. Detective Yam investigates the murders and is shocked that Kitty has now changed her name and identity and says she doesn't recall ever meeting him before.
Call me Susie.
I'm sorry. It's just you look like someone I used to know.
How can I help you, officers?
Yam admits to his partner that since he shot his own brother, he hasn't been able to get it up anymore, except when he's in the presence of Kitty. Sister Cindy and Kitty assassinate a Yakuza in an amazing nightclub sequence that integrates her training into the scene as well. This is a really fun scene that is still effective to this day. After the assassination, the Yakuza gang hire a former student of Sister Cindy named Princess, played by the always amazing Carrie Ng, to assassinate Cindy and Kitty. Carrie's character also has a new lover and Padawan lover known only as Baby. And note, you don't want to put Baby in a corner, especially a corner in a pool.
can you do me a favor and get this guy some Bondo? He's full of holes and leaking all over the carpet.
Producer Wong Jing and director Fok are clearly having fun here. They are not only embracing current genre types in Hong Kong, but they are also mercifully poking fun at them at the same time. The plot point of Yam not being able to get it up after the loss of his brother to a shooting is really goofy on the surface, but the fact that he also vomits at the sight of guns is also a really sharp commentary to put into the minds of the viewer. His character is broken by violence, and it's even affected his libido to the point that he can only feel attraction for a woman who professionally kills other men. Visually, this film does not disappoint. It is bathed in lush, deep colors, almost like a Dario Argento directed Hong Kong movie. It's just pretty to look at. Cinematographer Peter Pao and William Yim must have had a blast on this film. Pao in particular is the genius DP behind Hong Kong classics such as The Bride with White Hair, John Woo's The Killer, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The actors look amazing, and one could almost say there is some Wong Kar-wai influence seeping in, with a touch of the Hong Kong soap opera look as well. It's just a really unique look.
I had a feeling you were a pervert.
Oh, did you now?
Fok and Jing wanted to try and turn the current trend of triad gangster flicks on its ear and reimagine it with women instead of men. Fok took inspiration from older Shaw Brothers martial arts films to over-exaggerate the action scenes. All the actors went through extensive training to be able to perform in the action scenes, and it's here where Fok's style really shines. However, he has admitted that the sex scenes, although stylistically shot, were incredibly difficult for him to shoot, out of embarrassment as many of the leads were his good friends. This would lead him to the decision not to ever make another Category 3 film again.
Wow.
Fok has gone on to say that at this time in Hong Kong films, trends were everything. And at this time, John Woo and Choi Hart movies defined the industry. And if you wanted to make films, investors insisted you had to have guns, gangsters, girls, heroes, etc. So doing something original within those confines was incredibly difficult. But producer Wong Jing and director Clarence Fok managed to do so, and it's why this film has become the cult classic that it is.
What are you still here for? Get out of here. Get going or your balls will be next.
This film can be sometimes hard to find, so one can only hope that an HD or 4K version will someday happen. I still have a domestic DVD of it from I think 20th Century Fox, and it's okay and you can still find it on eBay, but an upgrade would definitely be nice. It is also a much better film in Chinese than it is dubbed. The dub version is very over the top and loses whatever subtlety it has during the seduction scenes, leaving it solely for laughs.
Wait, don't make so much noise.
Wasn't me.
Hey, buddy, why don't you get a room, huh? Can a guy get a little privacy around here?
One must also point out that the various posters from the film have in fact become cult items in and of themselves. The image of a nude Chigmy Yao with a gun and Carrie Ng are iconic in Hong Kong film history. Now, there was a sequel, or 2, or 3, or 4. The main one was to be called Naked Weapon, but that film eventually became its own thing with Maggie Q starring, and it had to distance itself from Naked Killer. Eventually, a cheaper and sillier sequel called Raped by an Angel was more the official Category 3 sequel. But it's in name and theme only. Director Fok didn't return, but stars Chigmy Yao and Simon Yam did, but they played entirely different roles. Raped by an Angel has 3 or more sequels, all of lesser quality than the one before it. Naked Killer is an all-out assault on your senses. whether it be sex, violence, comedy, social commentary, identity politics. Imagine every Hong Kong film trope all thrown into a big pot, mixed up, and out comes this wonderful stew known as Naked Killer.
Look, have something to eat. Come on, eat up. I brought you some chicken.